Hey guys, this is Chris. Welcome to the channel. I wanted to use this channel to document how I got started selling trading cards on TCG Player and other sources. And I also wanted to show you guys a little bit about the business side of the TCG selling business. I am a CPA by trade with 12 years of experience. So I wanted to take a little bit different route than a lot of selling channels where they're focused on things like obtaining inventory, where to sell, how to do your pricing, things like that. And I want to focus more on what are the realities of running a business? How do you need to get started? Are there any regulations you need to follow? What about the tax side? Uh, and since I'm going to be doing this myself, I'm doing this for the very first time, selling my cards for the first time in my life. I decided this would be a great way to show real world examples without having to create fake examples, unique situations, things that I just come up with myself. You guys will be able to follow along and see the actual problems that I'm encountering, the questions I'm having to ask, and how I answer them. Um, so to get started, I had a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, and Pokemon cards just sitting around in binders that were just doing nothing, just sitting in binders on a shelf, taking up space that I'm not pulling out and using. So I decided to use them as the basis of my sales. Um, to kind of seed my inventory. Um, then as money comes in from the sale of those cards, use them to then start purchasing additional inventory to sell, so on and so forth, with the ultimate goal of making this a decently sized side business to get some extra income coming in. Not quite passive, but also not a full time job as well. I also run a business called Woodham Bookkeeping, and I'm hoping between those two things, I'll ultimately be able to become fully self employed at some point. Speaking of Woodham Bookkeeping, I do have links in all my videos with a link to the inventory spreadsheet that I'm using to track all of my inventory, or at least the cost side of it, as well as a link to my website if you have an interest in, if you want to learn more about how I can help you with any of your bookkeeping or tax needs, whether that's for selling trading cards or any other business that you are running. Feel free to take a look below, check out my website, and reach out if you have any questions, concerns, or if you have anything that you would like some assistance with. So, now that we've established why I'm doing this, the steps I've taken so far is I formed an LLC. That may or may not be the right decision for you guys. For me, I've seen enough businesses. I run another LLC already. I decided it was the correct decision for me to make an LLC in Alabama. Um, I got my sales tax number so that if I ever do decide to purchase things wholesale, I will not be responsible for the sales tax on those purchases. TCG Player and most online marketplaces are going to collect the sales tax on my behalf, so I'm not really concerned about the reporting on the sales, but it will allow me to essentially buy wholesale. If I'm buying someone's collection, neither of us are going to have to worry about the sales tax reporting there. I also got a business license for my local city. Um, that may or may not be relevant to you guys, but it's worth checking out. In my case, you do need a business license. It's about 115 bucks a year. It's not too bad, but it is a little bit, it may be something that you may not have seen before if you have not run a business yourself. After that, I set up an account on TCG Player. It took me about 2 weeks to get approved. I think I submitted my application on June 28th and did not get it approved until July 13th. So about 2 weeks. And that was with, I'd say, twice a week follow up with support to get everything approved. So it did take a little bit longer than I would like. I knew it would take some time, but I did not expect 2 weeks to get it done. So it's a little bit frustrating, but everything is now set up there. I listed my first 100 cards. Made some mistakes there. It was primarily Pokemon bulk and Magic the Gathering cards. I wanted to clear those inventories out first because my main collection is with Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think the higher value cards that I own are going to be in Yu-Gi-Oh. Um, there's some things we'll get into in other videos, but I did not want to sell Yu-Gi-Oh cards until I reached TCG player level 4, and because that would allow me to set my shipping at a competitive rate. Right now, until I reach level 4, I have to price lower than what is ideal because I have to charge shipping on every order. There is no option for me to charge no shipping for orders over $5. So that is a limitation, and that has come back to bite me on one order that we'll discuss in my first update video. Um, but initially, it was just essentially listing as many cards as I could for Pokemon and Magic to get to that 100 maximum amount of cards that I could list. I also created an account on Manapool to put the remainder of my Magic cards online. So far, I've not had any sales there. That's mainly just so that I can get as many cards in circulation as possible. That if something comes from Manapool, it's money coming in that I didn't have before. It's reps getting cards out the door and shipped, and it's just a little bit will help me get money in the door a little bit earlier than if I had to only work with TCG players, 100 card limit. So far, that hasn't really worked out, but again, that lets me list more cards than I would if I was TCG player exclusive. I've just set up an account with Pirate Ship to handle my tracking because of one particularly large order that I need to get out the door. That was a very easy setup. I was very happy with them. There was a small snafu getting my initial purchase, but support cleared that up in about 5 minutes. So I am very happy with their performance. So far, I've had 3 orders go out the door. 2 orders were just single cards. One was a 29 card order of Pokemon cards. I'll talk about the specifics of that in my first update video, hopefully coming out this next Wednesday. Yeah, so I have 3 orders completed so far. In all cases, I'm waiting for them to be marked received so I can actually get the payout. So I have sent the cards out, but the cash has not yet hit my bank account until the orders are actually received in the TCG player system. Hopefully that'll be quick, but we will see. What you guys can expect from the channel going forward is weekly updates on Wednesdays about what happened in the prior week, what orders went out, what was the performance like. I'll show you the tools I'm using to track my revenue, my expenses, how all of that is being done from an accountant's perspective. It'll give you guys an idea of what you need to be looking at, the tools you can be using, because I'm going to be doing this with an eye of making sure I'm in compliance for tax reporting, which is something that most people don't think about once a year, but if you're running a business, you do need to think about that pretty constantly, at least on a monthly basis, to make sure no surprises come for U.S. businesses. You don't have any surprises in April when taxes are due. You make sure your estimated taxes get paid, and you're not going to have any large end of year surprises. Other than that, I plan to release videos hopefully weekly, but we'll see what the frequency is. Like my first video here, which was showing how my inventory cost tracking spreadsheet works, that is the same exact sheet that I'm going to be using for my business. I've already updated it for my Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon inventory. It's again, that's a free download. You can check the description below. It's the same exact sheet that I'm going to be using for my business, and you guys are welcome to download that and use it for your own purposes. In all cases, I'm going to be showing you the realities of starting a business from complete scratch. Like I said, I've never done this before. I'm not a few months into it and kind of doing a retrospective. You're going to see the mistakes that I've made, which I've already have made a couple. One went right, one went wrong. So if you're thinking about doing this yourself, you can use me as a guinea pig of sorts to see how you may want to change your approach away from what I did to give yourself a little bit more success. Yeah, and I'll have some other videos on the channel about how to run the business. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth about things like how did I get started, what are some pitfalls I see in businesses for people who are running business for the first time, things about what expenses can you deduct for your selling expenses, things like that, to help get you guys started and on the right foot. That is it for today. If you guys have any questions or comments for specific topics, please drop them in the comments below. I have some ideas on what I want to discuss going forward, but I would love to hear what you guys specifically want, because the goal will be to help you guys and not just have me rambling on about topics that I find interesting. I want to actually get a little more targeted to the questions that you guys are running into. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.